everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. I am coming to you on this Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. I am here with an update video. My last update video just went up about 48 hours ago, and we are back again with another update. Trying to get caught up and make sure that I have all the updates taken care of that I want to. So before I get into everything, welcome everybody. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is new here. Perhaps you are checking out my channel for the first time, and so thank you so much for coming and spending part of your day with me. As far as the stitching update goes, we are here to talk about Milestone Manor, which is a cross-stitch game that I created. I will be sure to link the how-to in the description box as well as in a card right up there. So that you can head on over there to see what it is I'm talking about. I have a tendency of gamifying my stitching, and this is my most recent game, in which I am essentially as a character moving through the rooms of my house and encountering projects and working on those projects towards milestones. There are experience points earned and damages taken, and it's a lot of fun. This month has been challenging. It's been challenging. It has caused me to start working on an expansion to try to help things a little bit. The details on the expansion I'm not going to be really talking about here. I may mention it briefly, but I'm not going to be talking about the details because I am still working through it, checking through things, seeing if it works, seeing if it makes sense, that sort of a thing. So yeah, there are some kinks to work out for sure. And so I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the expansion, if you will, but it's going to be further details at a later date kind of a scenario. So we're gonna get into it. So when I set up my plans for 2026, the hope was that my Milestone Manor rotation was going to run for the first 10 days of the month. Now, I am working on Milestone Manor in conjunction with Full Coverage Fanatics Bingo Bonanza. So Full Coverage Fanatics is a Facebook group that is dedicated to full coverage, and every month this year they have a new bingo game, which is a 5x5 grid that is full of interesting prompts. And the goal for those is to, for me anyway, is to work on a line each month. So a line of 5. And I need to do 1,000 stitches per block, or 2,000 stitches if I either don't have or don't want to work on a project that fits the prompt. The bingo is helping me decide where to go, because I have unlocked all of the rooms that I possibly can at this stage. And so what do I do now? Because the objective for the game is to go into all of the rooms and defeat all of the projects. But I have, I think, 9 rooms open at this point. And so I deal with some decision fatigue on what to do next. Bingo Bonanza is helping me do that. Bingo is really the reason why my Milestone Manor rotation went for so long. I just finished officially yesterday morning, so the 23rd. My rotation is supposed to stop around the 10th, but because of bingo, it went for over twice the amount of time that it was scheduled to. And so I've had to basically drop everything else and just let it be. Now, I love my full coverage stitching, and sort of a repeater kind of theme for the month of February is full coverage February. And so for this month in particular, I was okay with letting everything else go and just focusing on this and getting this accomplished. in the months to come throughout the rest of the year, I may just call it at the 10 days, because this was excessive. And another part of the problem was my dice. It's kind of one of the caveats to letting the dice make decisions, because sometimes the dice don't cooperate. In fact, by and large, they just don't cooperate. And that was so very true here in February. So we're going to start off. I'm going to show you the Bingo Bonanza board for February. And I was going for this bottom line here. And so I used the projects that I have in Milestone Manor to help decide what projects I was going to be working on. So for boat and ship, and you'll see these projects here in just a little bit, but for boat and ship, I was working on Dark Waters. For animals or princess, I decided to work on Quick Stitch Day and Night. She kind of has a headpiece, so she could be royalty, and there are also lots of different animals on that one, so I thought that one was fitting. For pink, I went with Little Wings by artwork by Jeremiah Ketner. It's a very pink design. For design starting with T or E, I'm working on Secret Stitch for that. So that one I obviously don't have to share with you. That one I am working on today outside of Milestone Manor. So after I finished up Milestone Manor, I still needed to work on this project for 1,000 stitches. And then we have a horse. And I have at least one project that I can think of off the top of my head that has a horse in it. And that is my Over the River from Charting Creations. But I wanted to be sure that I was working on April this month because I have a big goal for that one. And so instead of working on Over the River, which is not in Milestone Manor, instead I decided to go with April, and I aimed for 2,000 stitches on that. And more on that later, but I very much exceeded that. So 2,000 stitches, 1,000 stitches for the previous 4 blocks. That was the line I was going for. Okay, so I'm going to get into showing the projects and trying to explain what happened. I should have done some sort of a vlog this month. I did not know that this month was going to go this way. Just based on how January went, January was easy peasy. So yeah, I should have done a vlog this month so that y'all could see just exactly how rough it was in Milestone Manor for me this month. But I didn't. So we're just going to work through the projects, and I'll explain all of the things. So when last we spoke about Milestone Manor, I was in my kitchen, and I had just finished my rotation at the end of my January rotation. I had just finished the project in the kitchen. And so Milestone Manor rules dictate that I leave the room after I complete a rotation. And so I went into my dining room. And in my dining room is Avarice. So Avarice I did not have on my bingo board. So this is the irony of the situation. So I rolled for 2,160 stitches. The irony is that Avarice I did not need for bingo. And so I rolled for over 2,000 stitches for Avarice when I didn't need it. Now, putting 2,000 stitches into Avarice, I will take it every single time that happens, no problem. But it's just interesting by comparison to how the rest of the month went, that this one would get the high roll when I don't need it. It's just, interesting. So let's talk about Avarice. So preview here of what Avarice will look like finished. You'll be seeing here the cropped version because I'm taking off the bottom 2 rows of pages. I have enough fabric here to do the whole thing if I decide to, but I decided to trim this one a little bit to bring her a little bit further into focus rather than so much dress. So yeah, so that's what that will look like. This is artwork by Marta Dahlig. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And let me show you the progress. I do not have any of the project bags for these projects today. And so I will link in the description box of the video the project bag makers as and when I can for the project bags that these live in, but I did not bring the bags to show you, which is outside of my normal, but I was just trying to simplify by just bringing the stack of fabric. So here is where we are currently. And I am working this on a 25 count Easy Grid Lugana from Zweigart. I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross with the called for DMC. On this one I did sub for Anchor Black instead of DMC 310. And as you can see, I have so much margin. I have so much margin. I really have too much margin. Yeah, that was a poor use of fabric, but I didn't know any better. This is a project that I started in 2017, and so I was fairly new to the Easy Grid fabric. Anyway, so here is where we are. I am working on page, I think this is page 7 or 8, something like that. And yeah, I did 2,000 stitches, and I worked in my diagonals. So I rolled for 2,160 stitches, and I did exactly that many. You can see this diamond is done. There's still a little bit of the circular frame there that I have to do, but that's on the next page. And then this diamond is very nearly done. A little bit left to do there. And then I have another tiny one that will start emerging here. That's going to be ninja confetti. Based on the look ahead that I did for it. Yeah. These are confetti where you have one stitch here and then the colors used here and then down here kind of a thing. This one down here is lots of ninja stitches where you add in the thread for one stitch and then take it back out. So, should be fun. Okay, I am now at 20,793 stitches complete. My cropped version is 153,200 stitches total, bringing me to 13.57% complete. And my 2,000 stitches, I finally hit my first milestone on this project for Milestone Manor. I reached 20,000 stitches overall. So crossed the 20,000 stitches line, which is great. I have not yet reached the bottom of the page, although I think this diagonal that I'm working here, I think that is the bottom of the page there. Pretty sure that's the bottom of the page. So when I work on this next, if it comes up for March bingo, or if I end up working on it for one reason or another in March, then hopefully I'll be able to get to the bottom of the page, and then I'll hit shrinking diagonals. I also have, I should be keeping track of this. I know I have, not on this one. I don't have any colors zeroed on this one yet. Close though. A couple of them with less than 3 stitches remaining. So anyway, so that's where we are with Avarice. This is my easiest one to talk about because I only worked on it the one time. So there's that. We will talk about April last. April is my hallways and entryways piece, and I worked on that many times. Many times. And so it makes sense to show that one last. Okay, so I'm on my ground floor, come to my entryway, work on April. Then I go into the playroom and I work on Quick Stitch Day and Night, which is my project that's in the playroom. Roll my dice, 320 stitches. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. So did the 320, came back into the entryway here, worked on April, went back into the playroom, and that time I rolled 720 stitches. So this was my first project where I had to ping pong back and forth to reach the 1,000 that I needed for bingo. Okay. So Quick Stitch Day and Night. This is artwork by Nadia Strelkina. quick stitch is kind of a misnomer. This is really half of the day and night piece by Nadia Strelkina. I have just the night portion here. This project is over 200,000 stitches, so calling it a quick stitch is kind of, it's not really a fitting title. Okay, so here is where we are currently, and again, I'm working on the first page in the second row of pages. I stitch pretty much diagonal, like all the time. So I stitch the pages in stair stepper on the diagonal, and I stitch the pages themselves in a stair stepper diagonal. Just how I like to do things. I like to switch things up. With the pages in particular, some pieces can be very ombre, and so it's kind of cool to work on something up here and then to see what's going on down here, and then come back up here and do some of this, a lot of these projects, background bits, and then to get into some of the more fun details. It's just how I like to do things, keep things fresh. I am so close to a page finish here, y'all. Look at that. Just a couple hundred stitches left to that page finish. But my sum total, 1,040 stitches, I was just a little bit short. Okay, so I worked on this 2 times for Milestone Manor so that I could reach the 1,000 threshold I needed. It took me 2 days to do all of the stitches, and I did 1,040 stitches exactly, which was called for. I am now at 22,624 stitches complete of 210,648 stitches total. I am now at 10.74% complete. And those 2 times working on it, I hit no milestones that time. Yeah, that was kind of a bummer. So, no milestones, and just so close to a page finish, but I'm just not quite there yet. I don't know what my color zeros on this project is at this point. 25 count easy grid Lugana 1/1 full cross called for DMC anchor black instead of DMC 310 on this one as well. I love the moth. The moth is done, and so that feels like a it feels like a qualifiable milestone. My milestones for this are all kind of numerically related, but that feels pretty cool to have my first creature completed, and it looks really cool. It looks really cool. So that's where we are with Quick Stitch Day and Night. I love this project. I love seeing it come together. Very, very fun. Finished up the rotation officially on Quick Stitch Day and Night, reached the 1,000 stitches. I can continue on. So come back into the entryway, work on April for the 3rd time at this point. Then I head up the stairs. My project for the stairs currently is Little Wings. Little Wings is an interesting case because I am 1 milestone away from retiring the project. And I have decided that once I do that with this piece, Bonded by the Rain is going in here. I thought with the number of times that I'm passing through the stairs, I'll get some regular work on Bonded by the Rain. April I can keep as my entryway hallway piece so that is getting the consistent effort that it needs. So I'm 1 milestone away from Little Wings. I ended up having to work on this project 3 times. 3 times for this one, because again, I needed it for Bingo Bonanza, and again, my first roll was not quite 1,000. So let me show you here what the project will look like finished. This is artwork by Jeremiah Ketner. You can find this piece with Charting Creations now. Charting Creations has Jeremiah Ketner works. Heaven and Earth Designs does not, and so this version in particular is out of print, but head on over, Nikki's got this one. And so here is where I am now. I have reached the right side of the page, but I haven't reached the bottom of the page yet. Not quite. I think this diagonal is gonna get me there, if I can finish this diagonal. So I ended up having to work on this piece, like I said, 3 times we'll talk about the third time in a moment here. It is related to another situation. So my first roll was for 600 stitches. So I go up, I do my 600 stitches, work on April because that's my hallway upstairs project, then come back on the stairs, roll that time for 700 stitches. So at this point we're at a sum total of 1,300. And then I ended up having to work on it again and again for only 720 stitches. It was highly frustrating because I am a progress stitcher. I need to see like real stark contrast in a before and after kind of a scenario. And 600, 700 stitches is progress. It counts for something, but also it's not enough. It's just enough to get reacclimated with the color palette and to know what I'm working on and the style of the piece, just to get my feet wet and then back out again, switch projects again. So yeah, 600 and then 700 and then my last roll for 720. So sum total, I did 2,021 stitches on this project. So I went just a tiny bit over. I worked on this 3 times for a sum total of 4 days. And I am now at 12,969 stitches complete of 208,400 stitches, bringing me to 6.22% complete. And guess what? I got 0 milestones. These low rolls. It's like the low rolls not only mean that I have to work on projects multiple times, but it's also virtually impossible to reach milestones consistently when I'm rolling very low. Coming into the month of February, my Milestone Manor average was about 1,300 stitches. And this is getting a little bit ahead of things, but I'm at less than 1,100 stitches average now after February because of just the frequency of low rolls this month. It was unbelievable. So anyway, no milestones on this one. And so I haven't been able to replace this with Bonded by the Rain. And it just needs one more. I just need to get to that half page mark or the shrinking diagonals mark. And then I can swap this out. But I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So that is where we finish up with Little Wings here in February. At this point, the last project that I needed for bingo as it pertains to Milestone Manor. So finish up the second rotation on Little Wings, work on my project in the hallway, go into one of the bedrooms upstairs where I find Dark Waters. That's where Dark Waters is. And I rolled my dice and it came up with 910. I wanted to cry. I mean, I wanted to cry. Like, at this point, it's like the 19th, 20th of February. I'm ready. I want to be done now. Like, I want to move on. 910. I could not believe it. But that's what happened. I rolled for 910 stitches. So let me show you the project and then we can talk about all the things. This one's a little bit complicated. So Dark Waters is artwork by Jessica Allain, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Preview here of what this will look like finished. I have cropped off 65 stitches off the width, so I believe that the preview that you see there is not the cropped version, but what I'm taking off it's just some background. It's just a strip of background on both sides. And that was purely to fit my fabric. I didn't really want to go much of a shorter margin than this on the width. So I just carved off a little bit just so that it would fit my fabric. I have plenty for the length. This is a very long design. but I just didn't have quite enough on the width. So again, 25 count easy grid Lugana 1/1 full cross, called for DMC anchor black instead of DMC 310 on this one as well. And that coverage on this one always looks terrible, and I don't understand why this one in particular looks so bad on the camera. It's a deep dark blue because I'm just in the sky up here. So I'm working on the first page in the second row. And so yeah, I did my 910 stitches. And I did not hit a milestone. I didn't hit a milestone. So this was, at this point, like, let me pull it up because I can tell you that. Let's see. It was my 11th rotation for Milestone Manor. And I had hit milestones on 4 of the 11. On 4 of the 11 rotations, I had hit milestones. Unbelievable. Yeah. And so what happened is my character was exhausted. So I didn't get my 1,000 to be able to be done with Milestone Manor and to accomplish the goal on Bingo Bonanza. I didn't get a milestone. I became exhausted, and in Milestone Manor, when your character becomes exhausted, when you take your last damage, you got to go back to your starting point, which means I had to come back down the stairs. I essentially blipped back to my front door, which is in the hallway at the bottom of the stairs. So I worked on April, and then I worked on Little Wings to go back up the stairs. Then I worked on April again, and then back into the room to work on Dark Waters. At this point, I started mulling over and really putting pen to paper on an expansion. The expansion is essentially an items shop that is going to show up as a portal on the floor plan of where you're working on. And it's a shop where you can purchase items. Some of the items are single use. Some of them are you can charge them back up, essentially. I am still working on the details for some of them. Some of them have consequences if you use them. I'm really excited about it. I just have to work through the details a little bit. So I started working with a couple of items that I have come up with because I think that the way I have this game structured, and I don't know this for certain, but I think the way I have this game structured, I think it's going to reach a level of impossibility where, because the experience required to level up grows significantly faster than the health does. And so rather than rewrite that or try to reconfigure that, I thought that we might try to find a way to help bolster us when it comes to abilities, if you will, because a lot of this is based on my experience with Gloomhaven. And in Gloomhaven, when you level up, your character gains new abilities. Well, we can't really gain new stitching abilities beyond rooms to open, but we can't, like, there's no real like enhancements that we can give ourselves, right? The needles aren't going to get any faster. So instead, we have, I'm hoping to introduce these items that you can use to help modify a little bit. But more details to come at a later date. Just something to think about. If you are playing Milestone Manor and you have ideas for items, let me know in the comments. So some things that I have already come up with is I have a one-time use re-roll. I have a stitch adjustment potions. I have a I have an item that grants you invisibility so that you can move through a room without having to stop and attack. What else do I have? Oh, there was something else. There was another thing that I thought about. I have a staying potion so that you could stay in the same room and attack the same whip 2 times back to back, whereas our typical rules, you've got to leave the room and then come back, as we have seen. So I have lots of ideas, but if you have any ideas for items that I can start to work on, let me know, and we'll take a look at it. But like I said, details about the shop expansion will come at a later date. I will do a dedicated video to discuss that. Okay. So, make it back into the room, and Dark Waters, I rolled for, I think it was 210 stitches, which was enough. Was it enough to get a milestone? No. Of course not. 210 stitches on this gigantic piece. I wasn't getting to a milestone with that. And I'm going to have to be okay with that because that's just the way the month of February went. At this point, I didn't care. I was just ready to be done. I'm ready to be done with Milestone Manor now. So, I have false information on my notes here. So I'll put down here the details for the percentage, how far I am at this point. I know that I am at 4.36% complete, but I can't remember my exact stitch counts. So I'll put that down here for those who are curious. So that's where we got to with Dark Waters. And now let's talk about April. April. It's a good thing. I really like this project. It's a good thing because I worked on it so many times. Perspective here. I worked on this project 9 times for Milestone Manor. 9 times. Yeah. 9 times, between having to ping pong between rooms and start back down here after getting exhausted and heading back up the stairs. And then after I finished my 210 stitches on Dark Waters, for personal reasons, I needed to work on April again because I was 40 stitches from the page finish on that one, and I needed the page finish before the month ended. I needed to feel some sense of victory before the month ended because, yeah, I was feeling a little downtrodden. So I ended up doing another rotation on April to close out Milestone Manor and to close out my full coverage yesterday. Okay, so 9 times I worked on April. I did a total of 6,708 stitches on this project here in the month of February. So that brings me to a total of 8,829 stitches on it this year. And so that's good. I'm caught up on this one, at least. On this one, I need to do around 4,000 to 4,100 stitches a month. January, I started off the year behind because travel and things. And I'm now caught up, and I even have about 800 stitches in the bank. So that feels pretty good. You know, at least there's that silver lining. I got caught up on April. Okay, 9 times, like I said, worked on it for Milestone Manor. A total of 14 days were spent on it this month. So finished it up on the 23rd, which means that I worked on this all but 9 days in February, which is, it's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna read off the dice rolls for this one. This one was very much a roller coaster, an absolute roller coaster. Okay, 180, 1840, 540, 2170. So that was the high for the month, 2170. 70. I followed up 2170 with 70. Yeah, that wasn't fun. 70 stitches. Let's talk about that one for a second. I posted that one to Instagram stories, and I'm gonna need several of you, you know who you are, to go through and watch Bluey, the episode titled Shadowlands. So many of you were in my DMs telling me to just roll again. Nobody's gonna know the difference. Cheaters, the lot of you. I was tempted. I really was tempted. 70 stitches. Set up this whole project for 70 stitches. Are you kidding me? I was tempted, but I did my 70 stitches. I am sticking to the rules because the rules are what make it fun. That's why I say you should watch Shadowlands. Okay, so after 70, it was 480, 520, 560, and the last one, I was really hoping for a big number here again, but 220. 220. Just terrible. Okay, so let me show you the progress, which is kind of astounding. It's kind of amazing. And then I can talk to you about the milestones that I reached, because I did reach some milestones over the course of all of that stitching. I better have. Okay. So I'm going to open it up so that we can see the whole thing at this point. So that's where we are in total. I was working on page, I think, 6? 9. 9? Yes, page 9. The face page. The face page. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I did so much feathering into the neighboring page because this is a huge patch of 3756. And I just didn't want to leave, I just wanted to feather in as much as I could without going too wild, but feather in as much as I could to keep that as smooth as possible. I still have some funny moments here, like this random darker line here. I don't know what that's about. That is also 3756, and for whatever reason, it just looks darker there. And this one here, too, for no reason. Don't know why. I think it's okay. When we're standing back, it's all right. I'm not bothered by it. Her eyes are, oh, they are amazing. This one in particular, because this one you can really see the iris and whatnot. So many interesting colors in there. Reds and browns and blue. I love the way her eye turned out. And her nose. So at one point I was right here and I was like, where's her nose? Where is it? Like, I'm gonna have to just trust that the pattern is correct, because at this point I was a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. But then the shape of her nose appeared, and it's just the perspective. But yeah. From there, it almost looked like she wasn't going to get a nose. And then, surprise of surprises, we got the corner of her mouth here. I knew that I was going to get to her Cupid's bow. I did not realize that I was going to get part of her top lip there. So she looks a little funny, especially with the parked threads kind of coming out of her mouth a little bit. I was watching Anne, the Max Color Stitcher, and one of her projects is at this kind of a similar stage with just threads coming out of the mouth. Just kind of interesting. Just a weird cutoff. I, too, was tempted to just finish stitching her mouth so that it didn't look like that, but then it would just be coming out of her chin. So we're just going to leave her like that for a while. It's certainly not as bad as my Faces of Fairy. On Faces of Fairy, one of the page lines cuts off in the middle of the eyeball, and her eyes are bright red. So there were these red threads coming out of her eyes on that one. So not quite like that. But yeah, still looks a little bit funny. So yeah, so that's where we are with the page finish on on April. So 2 months down, 2 of my 10 pages done. That's pretty cool. I doubt I'm going to get another page finish in March. I'm okay with that. But yeah, I really, really like how she's looking. She's looking gorgeous. Okay, so sum total over the month. I hit 9 milestones. I hit 9 milestones this month. Let me check that math. Yeah, 9 milestones. Okay, so I have now zeroed out 15 colors, which I was surprised by. I was surprised to have zeroed out that many, but yeah, 15 colors are zeroed out. 12 I have zeroed out here in February. 3 I had zeroed out previously. So every 3 colors that I zero out counts as a milestone. So that's 4. I hit 56,150 stitches complete. That is significant because that is the 100,000 stitches remaining threshold. So I now have a few thousand stitches less than 100,000 to go. So that's pretty cool. I am at 90 some odd thousand to go at this point. About 94,000 remaining. I had hit shrinking diagonals on this page previously. And then I hit 60,000 stitches complete. So I am now at 61,425 stitches done. So I crossed the 60,000 stitches threshold. I have added in a couple of milestones, a couple of things that I celebrate as milestones, but that it hadn't occurred to me. I found the physical center of this design, which I'm just under 40% complete. So I was surprised to find the physical center. But if you take the width, divide by 2, and if you take the height, divide by 2, it lands right about there. And so once I stitched all the way around that, I considered that a milestone of reaching the physical center of the design. I haven't reached 50% yet, but it still feels cool. Like on Pattern Keeper, it's indicated by a little red dot in the middle of the chart, and I have stitched the red dot, and so that is pretty cool. So I added that one as a milestone. I also added, I had talked about a row of pages finished would be a separate milestone. A column should absolutely count as well. I also added when I hit 50,000 increments of stitches on Milestone Manor total. So I am tracking everything as far as Milestone Manor goes. When I hit 50,000 stitches total, that's going to count as an experience point for my character because that's significant. I'm almost there. I'm at 40 some odd thousand, and we'll go over those stats here in just a minute. That's significant to have done 50,000 stitches in this little game. So there's that. And then my last milestone I reached yesterday, which was, of course, the page finish. My 220, my final roll for this. So it literally took me, I think, 60 stitches to get the page finished there. And I had this in my Q-snap because I kept working on it over and over and over again. I was like, I can't be swapping this in my Millennium frame all the time. So I put this one in my Q-snap. And for 160 stitches, I didn't want to move the Q-snap. So I just got started on the corner of page 10 here. Even though my next page will be page 13, which I'm so excited about. No, 14, page 14. I'm so excited to get into those colors again. And for just some easy stitching. But just to finish out the low stitch count, I just went ahead and put that in there. So getting her brow taken care of and temple. So this was the face page. I mean, we have her, all of her facial features here, but her jaw is like here. Like there is still quite a lot of side of her face here yet to do. Quite a lot of that yet to do. So anyway, so that's where we are with April. This is Antique White Lugana from Zweigart. It's not a pre-gridded one, and it never was. And again, 1/1 full cross, called for DMC. I think this one is DMC 310 because there's not a lot of true black thread in this one. So I think I just went with DMC for this. But I don't know that for certain. But 15 colors down. So that brings me to, I think, 74 colors remaining. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's where we are with April. Okay, I want to do some general Milestone Manor sort of stats recap and just let y'all know where we're at with things. So we'll start off with my character sheet. I posted on Instagram when that happened. That was the first Dark Waters rotation, the 910, where I didn't hit a milestone. Very sad. It was especially sad because I was just 2 experience points away from leveling up. I was 2 away. But I just, yeah. So, c'est la vie. There is that. So now we try again. Again with the 9 health points. And I need 12 experience points. So that's what you see boxed off here. And I have 4 done, all of which are on April at this point. Which is interesting. So many April milestones here in February. Really, the last 9 in a row. So these 4 here, and then 5 here, and Avarice. So wild. So 5 projects for Milestone Manor. And milestones on really only 2 of them. Very, very interesting. So that's where we are. 8 more experience points until I can level up. I really do think that the scaling is what will make this game very, very difficult base level. So if we don't add some modifiers, if we don't add some enhancements, if we don't get some superpowers, this game could be verging on impossible. Okay, here is my project sheet. And so I defeated April the first time. And I actually had an overkill. So that's something interesting. And so here we are with April the 2nd. And I'm 70% of the way done with it for the second time already. So that's pretty interesting. But I mean, 9 milestones here in February, that'll do that. That's just so interesting. So that's where things stand. Little Wings still needs 1. Avarice has its first of 9. Quick Stitch Day and Night is 3 away. Haunted House. I had toyed with the idea of going for 2 lines on bingo this month, with it being full coverage February. No. But one of the ones I was going to work on was Haunted House. For that summer montage, nothing yet, but I have hardly worked on that. So yeah, so that's where we are currently with things for Milestone Manor. Okay, let's run through the stats real quick. Let me pull that page up. Okay. In total, I did 17 rolls for Milestone Manor here in February. My average, 760. Yeah, that's, my low was that one on April. My high was the one on April. Okay, so I am now at 44 rounds complete. So essentially 44 rolls complete of Milestone Manor. 17 of which were this month alone. I have done 45,990 total stitches for Milestone Manor at this point. So I'm getting close to that first 50,000 threshold. That's pretty cool. Average, my average roll is 1,045.23. My high is still 2,900 and my low is now 70. I have defeated 3 projects thus far. And yeah, so that's where we are with Milestone Manor. I still love the game. It's difficult, and the luck-based component with the dice, yeah, it's a heavy sigh moment. But I still enjoy it. I still look forward to my Milestone Manor rotation. I was ready for it to be done this month, that is true, but I am ready for next month. I'm ready to get started next month. I am doing some traveling the first week of March, and so my Milestone Manor rotation is going to be a bit delayed. So I'm going to have a little bit of a break until I get back into it. So yeah, should be interesting. Okay. I think that's it for the stitching that I have done. Really quickly here, I want to talk about my plans for the rest of February here. So starting tonight, today I'm working on Secret Stitch to try to finish out Bingo Bonanza for February. I should be able to do that. Secret Stitch goes fairly quickly. I need about 300 more stitches on that. I should be able to do that once I finish up here. But starting tonight, I will start my mashup of temperature stitching meets SammyJ's categories, and the projects I have selected are in alphabetical order. So real quickly here, I want to talk through what the projects are and my called for stitches at this point. Real quickly here, I want to talk through my projects for categories for February. And this will be the order in which that I work on them. I will spend a day on each of them, although we fly out on Saturday the 28th, and so I will need to get these stitches done a little bit ahead of time, but that's neither here nor there. I will recap when I can afterwards. Okay, so the categories, this is not the order in which they are listed. I randomized them. So my 01 temperature project is the new to you category in SammyJ's categories. And the project I selected for that is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. And this was my first ever start of a Hello from Liz Matthews piece. Which I find hard to believe because I have drooled over and obsessed over her stuff for quite a few years now. But Autumn Cloche was my first start. So that's how that's new to you for me. My 2-3 project is closest to a finish, and for this I selected Autumn Fairy by Allain. I have a couple of contenders for this, but I decided that Autumn Fairy is my closest to a finish because it's the one that I am the most motivated to get finished, and so I will be working on that tomorrow, working on Autumn Fairy by Allain. For Stitcher's Choice, I went with Autumn Sampler. This is by Cooler Design Studio, artwork by Sandy Orton. This is a piece I haven't worked on in a couple of years, and so I'm looking forward to getting back to it for a couple hundred stitches here. This just is how it worked out as far as the alphabet goes. I was able to get Autumn Sampler in. For least amount done, that's the next category. I have English Bulldog that I started in December, and I put a total of 21 stitches into that project. So that one is barely started. However, I am omitting full coverage and full coverage no background from this. I'm working through my non-full coverage pieces for this purpose. Because my full coverage and non-full coverage, those are attached to Milestone Manor. There's plans to work on those at some point when those projects come up. And so I am foregoing that one. I'm ignoring that one. And if you then look at my projects at my least amount done, then it's easy to decide what that is. That's Autumn Town by Nara X Stitch Patterns. That's a piece that I started for temperature stitching last fall 2024. So over a year ago. I have not worked on it since January of last year. And I think I'm a couple hundred stitches into that. And I would really like to work on it again. And it just so happens to have worked out with the alphabet. So I am working on Autumn Town for least amount done. English Bulldog is perhaps my legitimate least amount done, but I'm taking the liberty of going with Autumn Town for this one. Plus, it's way older, and it's been longer since I last worked on it, so that's what I'm going with for least amount done. And then my project for 8 and 9, monochromatic. That is the final category. Do I have monochromatic pieces? I do, but not in the alphabet, and not that I really feel like working on. So let me just name the first 4, and then perhaps you can guess the theme for me for this month's temperature stitching mashup whipagories. Autumn Cloche, Autumn Fairy, Autumn Sampler, Autumn Town. Touching the Autumn Sky is going to be the piece that I work on for monochromatic. Now, the way that SammyJ Stitches has described these categories, not everybody is going to have a project to fit every one of the categories. There are a lot of them. I think we'll go through each of them twice in the year. So, what is that? 5. So there's 30 total categories if the brain is mouthing as it's supposed to. That's a lot of categories. Not everybody's going to have something to fit all of the categories. And so one of the caveats that Sammy describes is to have a piece that is your, like, you always sub this in as and when is needed. And for me, that is Touching the Autumn Sky. That is a piece that I need to finish. I want to finish it and I need to finish it. I have the chart on loan. I need to get this project done. It's time. It is time. And so this is my piece that I am subbing in when there's a category that I don't want to work on or is not working for the alphabet, where I am at in the alphabet, or whatever. This is the project that I'm going to be subbing in. And so I will be working on Touching the Autumn Sky as my sub in on monochromatic here in February. Interestingly enough, that is also one of my WIPCO calls for the month of February. I did not get to WIPCO this month, and so that will have to get tacked on at a later time. I don't know when, I'll be honest, because we're traveling next week. I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, so that's going to be the plan for the rest of February here. I will spend a day on each of those. Though Touching the Autumn Sky, I may start working on a little bit early just to be sure I get the stitches done before we leave Saturday afternoon. Our flight out is Saturday afternoon. So anyway, so that's the plan there, to get my stitching accomplished for February. Okay, let's talk about next week. So I will be taking some stitching with me. I would really like to play Survivor Stitchy Game. Survivor 50 starts tomorrow, and I'm so excited about it. I have been looking forward to it ever since they first announced that this was coming. Survivor 50, it's the 50th season of Survivor, and it is all returning cast. Folks from way back to the beginning, some folks who were just on, I think 48. I don't know if anybody from 49 is on this season. Anyway, I am so looking forward to it. And Making Things with String, Kate and Julia, they created a Survivor Stitchy game last fall ahead of season 49. And they're, of course, bringing it back for season 50 here. So I would really like to jump in. I have some figuring to do, and I don't have very long to do that figuring, to decide what I'm going to be working on. I think I'm going to go with just tribe projects for now until we reach a merge situation. So I have to figure out what those are, and that will probably be the projects that I bring with me to Vegas next week, because that feels like the right time to be working on things like that. I know that Snow Castle for sure is going to come with me next week, because I feel like that's a good time to be working on that, on trying to get caught up on that at least a little bit. So other than that, that's it for the plans. So that's all I have for the stitching. And I was about to do a book talk here. So just a little bit of behind the scenes information for you. I film on my desktop, and my library goes to an external hard drive just to keep things separate that way. I'm having an issue, and I'm not sure what's causing it or how to fix it, other than to switch to another external hard drive. But when my videos surpass the 1 hour mark, I start to see these little glitches where it looks like my filming is dropping frames, and that gets more and more frequent the further beyond an hour I get in filming. And so I have decided that we're going to have to do a book talk a different time, because I'm getting that now, where I'm getting the dropped frames and the glitching. I don't like it, and so I've got to adjust accordingly. So I am going to head off here. I'm going to get this edited and posted. Hopefully it will be up tonight or first thing tomorrow. Again, just to reiterate, we've got WIPCO calls coming soon. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, so that's everything for me today. It feels weird. I'm having a hard time coming to the ending here, because I do have a stack of books here I wanted to talk about, but I can't with the glitching. It's distracting enough that I don't want to today. So I'm gonna head off. Happy stitching, everybody. As always, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.